do my common thing for the interwebs when we post these videos, because apparently there's quite a number of people actually watching and asking me to keep up doing the same, because a lot of people who are not in Houston, they cannot show up, right? And as I go to like track days and stuff, there's always somebody who walks up to me and say, "Oh man, thanks for putting that up, because I cannot drive to Houston for this, but there's a lot of good stuff there." So, all right, as long as there's somebody around for me to talk, right? Yeah. And more people, as we keep doing this, we keep getting more people like stepping up, like Santiago today is gonna do, and Jason, and whoever else wants to share whatever.
Jason and Matthew, the last time they shared.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, so those are great. So thanks, you guys, for coming. That's very valuable to all of us. As usual, the quick introduction. I'm Claudio La Sala. I used to say that I was mostly a beginner. I think now I'm an intermediate at best, right? Because I'm still working on all my flaws there at the track. Been riding bikes since 1990, street bikes, sport bikes, just since late 2016, so relatively new at that. Started first track day last year in February, but ever since I did 30 plus track days, so I really got hooked to that thing. And another cool thing there is this, look at my numbers there, it's about 3,000 miles of riding on the track.
No way.
Yeah, wow. It's like that's kind of nice. Always big thanks to Improving, my employer, who lets us use this space, get us free food and all that. RideSmart, Hart, Blair, who we do track days with, and who offer us discounts for their services. I always give a shout out to Life at Lean, because I've learned a lot of stuff and still learn a lot of stuff from their resources there. I always recommend people to check it out. About these meetings, for people who are not familiar with them, I keep thinking, what are the best ways to become, better riders? Definitely not riding on the street. We know there's way too many factors to get us messed up on the street. So going to the track, by far number one way. You get seat time, riding at the track, a controlled environment for you to actually practice and learn the skill. Second best, working with instructors in class, listen to what they have to say. They have a lot of experience and content to share. Get them to follow you around the track, and then listen their feedback. They're gonna point you out to things that maybe you're not aware of, the things that you should be doing that you're not, or things that you are doing and you shouldn't. And then next to that, what you do beyond the track, what we are doing here. What are the techniques that you can use to maybe practice at home? Drills that you can, safely do. How can you go to your garage and, maybe practice something there? How do you use our video footage from your action camera, your GoPros and stuff like that? How do you put together a track day plan to know what to work on next? That's what these meetings are all about. No intro to track days today, because we've done that already in the past. People interested, they've been going to the Beyond the Track playlist on my 3-Lap Rider YouTube channel, where we have all the videos for these meetings. And for today, what I have prepared is essentially tips for non-first timers, what I've been calling the road to the fast group, right? So what I've been doing as an intermediate rider to prepare myself to hang out with the fast guys. Some of my recent messy experiences, or my mess-ups at the track, because it's not just about sharing, oh yeah, I've moved up a level, or I've gotten some new gear, I got a new bike. No, you have to also show where you're messing up, what did you do, what did you learn from it, so that next time you don't do the same stupid stuff and other people can learn from that. And by the way, we're gonna also go over some recent new track experiences. A little while ago, I shared that I almost ran into a turtle. I almost ran into a rattlesnake, and I've heard that Santiago almost ran into a big spider. So right, Charlotte, yeah. Yeah. So we want to hear everything about that. I'm really curious to hear about that. We have the closed group on Facebook for Beyond the Track, where it's not public, it's an invitation only group where we can continue the discussions that we have here, or even prepared discussions for the next in class Beyond the Track. And all right, road to the fast group on my storyline. So I've shared that last year I spent like 11 track days in level 1, the beginners group, going from my very first track day, making some improvements along the way. Towards the end of the year, I got promoted to level 2, or I decided actually to go and start riding level 2. And then as time went by earlier this year, I started doing small upgrades like upgrading my tires, getting better tires, getting better back protectors and stuff like that. That all happened in the beginning of the year. And then one of the things that I thought that was cool, at least at the track days that we all ride with at RideSmart, they started doing mental labs. And they started that back in May, as far as I remember. The reason why I wanted to share that here is because mental labs is something that I started practicing last year when I read one of Keith Code's book. I don't remember if it was Twist of the Wrist volume 1 or 2. In one of the two, he talks about mental labs. And then I started practicing that in the idea that, you sit down, you close your eyes, and then you do a mental lab, right? So, and a lot of people, they don't quite get that it is for you to do it as if you were there. Because what happens is that people go like, okay, for instance, COTA, main straight, turn 1, S's, turn 6, turn 11, back straight, turn 12. It's like from point to point, from corner to corner. And of course, you are also supposed to time your mental lap and see how well you did. And usually you do a lot better than like Marquez's time, right? Because the record on the track is 2:03. People doing mental laps like that, they turn like 35-second laps, right? It's like, that's not realistic, right? The idea is for you to actually feel and see everything along the track that you can and get as close to your normal personal best there. Because if you, like, say at COTA, your normal time is like 2:30, right? You do a mental lap. If you do a 2:50, or if you do a 2, either too much or too little, it means that you don't have enough reference marks on the track, right? Because maybe you go like, well, turn 11, back straight, turn 12, go. You're skipping a bunch of reference marks there, right? Or you may go turn 11, there's the candy stripe. What else there is there? Oh yeah, there's something here. You are thinking too much. So you're delaying your mental lap because your mind is trying to look for references because you don't have them, right? So what you have to do next time out on the track is to actually look up and look for those references. And then as you do the mental lap, you go reference marker to reference marker. And then you look at the time, you should be pretty close to your actual lap time. Don't try to like watch Marc Marquez's videos and try to do your mental lap the way he does it, because that's not realistic, right? So as I started doing that, it helped me quite a bit because I would start like putting my own videos on the big screen and watch it and pretty much have my body react to what I was seeing. Like, okay, I'm on some sort of straight, I'm tucked in. Oh, now here comes a turn. I'm sliding off my seat and I'm already looking someplace else. You get your whole body thinking that way. And then when you do the mental lap, you have that. You remember where you're breathing, where you're relaxing, where you're going on the brakes, right? And that all allows for you to have a better experience as you're riding. So what happened back in May is that RideSmart started also practicing this kind of exercise where they get you first to do a mental lap, right? Do a mental lap around the track. They're gonna time it, and then you can see, how far from your lap time you are, and then they get you to draw the whole track map, which that's exactly what we should do. You should be able to sit down and draw the track, because if you can't, and you don't have to be an artist, because if you can't, I mean, if you don't know, oh yeah, this is a sharp hairpin, and instead of doing a sharp hairpin, you do like a long sweeper, like, dude, you're not at the same track, right? You have to get better at that. So that was pretty cool. And then along the lines, I mean, it's not something that, you know, only crazy people talk about. There is this video that I'm gonna play here. You can look it up on the MotoGP website. Just look for a lap of Sachsenring or something like that. They got a Moto3 rider to do a like a mental lap, but he is describing what he's seeing in his head. He's a German rider, so I mean, unless you understand German, which I don't, it's gonna be hard. But read what he is saying and see his body.
Yeah, but how close was his time to his actual time?
Well, you cannot time it that way because he's saying everything. If he was not describing everything, he is. But it's different, right? If you're just thinking all that without saying, you get closer to the actual time. Right? Because there he's finding the words to say. So you have to put that into consideration. But you see like his body language, like he's switching gears, right? He is like going, he's like thinking about where he's gonna actually have time to breathe, relax, and then go. Oops. Oh, that's from here.
And he's mentally going through which track?
Sachsenring. Yeah. Right. And then I could relate. And after being there and then seeing what he does, I mean, for them, even the times that they can actually breathe, they have to have markers for that.
Is the whole, yeah, sure.
Right? Otherwise, they are holding their breath because there are so many things that they are doing. So I mean, that's like the most in depth, I guess, that you can get, right? By no means I do anything kind of like that, but I try. It's like, okay, I'm going, you know, beyond that overpassing. That's my time to, you know, to go like this, go on the brakes, and try to think that way, right? Because then I'm gonna show you on my mess ups where I've learned some from that as well. So that's something cool to do in case you haven't been doing it. Try it. Try it because it's very helpful. Last month I shared a little bit about, you know, using action cameras, where to mount, how do you go through all the footage, or what do you do with all that footage. Last time at COTA I tried one different thing. I've set my 360 camera on the passenger foot peg because I was expecting to see a couple of things. One was the suspension work, which didn't work with this camera because as I was leaning, it was getting too dark for the camera, so I couldn't quite see what was going on here. But I also wanted to see like my footwork on the pegs and how much butt I was moving off the seat. Right from here, you can see my big butt moving. Right, huge butt.
Hanging a cheek.
Right. And other things like sometimes I see people like really exaggerating on the knee part of things because we say okay, over exaggerate on moving out of the bike, but I see people like stretching their knees to an extent that's like, dude, you're almost like all the way upright. Why do you have your knee all the way over there? That's like, to me, it's counterproductive. So I wanted to see how I was doing, and I noticed that I mean, I do like drop the knee, but it's not like I need to drag my knee so bad. Like just get over that thing, right? So I tried that, and I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. Nope, that's a COTA.
You're in Upper COTA?
Yes, I'll show you. So one thing about this camera, see?
Yeah, is that your face?
No, because that this 360 camera that I have is that one that looks like this, and then the lenses are like right over here. So it's not like a real 360. It's 360 around here, but it cannot
You
see,
can't see the top of the bottom.
right? And there are others where they have lenses on both sides. And then when you look, when you do this, you don't see the camera because it's actually,
Turn the other way.
yeah, but I mean, this camera is a cheap camera, so
Yeah, right.
okay, I'll live with that. Right? It's not ideal, but for what I wanted, it's actually okay. But again, I like this view. I could see where, like, I wanted to see a little more how I'm moving my feet on the peg. Yeah, the S's. Right. Like, and I can see, yeah. Right, so that kind of stuff, it worked out well for that. Right. Now, let's see, I think this is gonna fade out. Now, also last month, I said something, and I have to be, held accountable for the things that I say, right? And I have it on video. Now, I've done 24 track days without ever crashing, without ever running off the track, right? And other than the one crash when I did go out of the track, I never go out of the track. So I never put myself into situations where I'm like, oh! I never go off track. That's what I said, right? And then, of course, next track day, what did I do? Twice.
It happens.
If you don't run off track every once in a while, you're not trying.
Well, you're not pushing, right? And that track's like, again, and the other thing that I've been saying several times is, I always think that COTA is the place where I really improved my riding because I know there's like runaways. So if I do go harder and have to go out of the track, I'm not gonna go get all messed up, as opposed to like MSRH, MSRC, where it's like you don't want to run off track on those tracks because it's nasty. Or like ECR. Why the hell did I crash on ECR? I shouldn't. I 25 miles an hour. I hit the grass. It was wet. It was all right. If it was COTA, I would not have crashed. I would just have and then come back. No big deal, right? And then I've always said, well, at COTA, it's slightly different. And then, all right. And then what happened there? Let's see. Of course, go in there. Where are we here? Yeah, there you go. 12, 11. 11. We'll go back to it. I'll show in many details because I have footage from all areas. And here's on 19. Right?
That's all right.
But I hadn't done even that.
Okay.
Right? So then we go again. It's the same thing.
I went off in the red and blues my first day there.
Yeah.
And then I tested out the turf.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like on this one, I'll tell you. One of the instructors said, well, turn 19 is a fast corner. We can go a lot faster than our minds think that we can. So, and at COTA, this is a place where you can actually push and you can try it, because if you run off track, there's not a whole lot in there. I say, all right, I'll try that. I tried it, and that's what happened.
Were you leaning all the way over that?
I
Or
was
were you
not.
hanging?
So check it out. I have another angle of this. It was very stupid. I could easily have made that one. This is the rear facing one. Right, so you hear like the quick downshift. The bike wasn't upset at all. It went,
That's why you lost your control.
yeah.
So why do you think you go the corner once
Let's see, there's one more.
You brake too deep.
There you go.
Lean in and hard.
So coming out, right? I'll transition to the other side of the bike. I'm good. Quick downshift. I just give up. It's like, no, I'm not making it. I could. I mean, there was no reason for me not to make that corner. And I'm like, oh, sorry, right? I mean, look at it again. I mean, there was
You
no
don't
reason
need
for
it
me.
now, arguing,
No.
You
I mean,
can
check
grow
it out.
there.
Yeah, you give up.
I'm like, all right, can make it. Nope. If I had, put my head, lowered my head, look through the corner, I could have made it. But you just see like my head shift.
Also,
Nope.
if you stay on the brakes too long, though, you lose your turning ability, and you won't, unless you let off, then you won't regain it.
Yep.
Yeah, I've learned that. But I mean, so you think you gave up because you were coming in too hot and you couldn't?
I was coming in like
You thought you were going
faster,
to
or I felt like I was coming faster than
you're comfortable.
I'm comfortable with, and then I was like, yeah, instead of just going for it, because I could
Right.
remember, look, when you lean the bike, it will slow down,
Yeah.
right? And with the engine brake and all, but at the time I was like, nah, screw it.
It's milliseconds. It's really hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that fraction of a second.
We've all been there.
Exactly. So that was like, okay, I can live with that. But then there's more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that weekend was tough. So here,
Humbling.
a buddy of mine was following me, right? And I'm doing my thing. I'm being smooth, right? I mean, I'm in full control of everything that I'm doing there. No big deal. What's that?
Speed's not changing.
Yeah, I don't something with the video.
Or the dot in the track.
Yeah, I think that the rendering. Yeah, now it's moving.
Freeway section.
So here, going down 10, I go back, get back on the throttle. Yep. Drive, 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 drive.
What are you doing?
Like, what the heck, dude? Right, so now from my camera, and I'll explain what happened. Two things happened. Did you hear the downshift?
You're engaged. Here, right?
So what happened there was the following. There are two things that I need to work on that section. One is, I know that coming out of 9, or way before the apex on 9, I can already get back on the gas hard because we're going uphill, and then there's the blind corner next, but you can be full throttle there. So I am doing this first part. I upshift before turn 10.
Right.
I lean into turn 10, but my mind always say, okay, hold on, dude. So I stall on the gas. And only once I'm by the apex, I'm like, idiot, you should be on the gas. This time around, I came out a little bit faster because I remember a little bit earlier that I can go on the gas harder. So I was going faster than my normal. And at the same time, I decided to push my brake marker. Because usually I brake a little before that thing, that sign. Oops. Yeah, let me run it. Oops. Right, so usually like right here is where I brake. It's like slightly before this sign here, I go like this. If you keep watching on the video, you'll see that I go a little bit past that. There you go.
Yeah.
That was enough, right? It was a little bit, I was faster and pushed my my brake markers down. This buddy coming behind me, he said, well, you were braking way too late there, right? So I went like, and then I downshifted when I should already be turning the bike in, right? So it's like, okay, I just downshifted and I need to turn. Nah, forget it. Just like, it's safe. I'll go there and then I'll come back, right? So yeah.
I think you could have brake all the way and downshift.
What's that?
I think that you could have brake down all the way and downshift.
I should, if I had downshifted before I actually did, I think I would feel more comfortable turning the bike. But since I think I've waited too long, I was like, no, it's too much.
Do you brake and downshift at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. But this time around, I was like, nah, I don't feel like I can do it. It's like, that just keep going. That's what, those runaways are there for. Yeah, it's like, whatever, I'll go around and then I'll come back. No big deal. But, you know, an important lesson for me that weekend was the following. So there was the whole, you know, so much safer to try out limits there. And it is. It's like, I don't feel bad like running off track there. I was like, no big deal. It's not like I was like riding way over my head or anything like that. I was just pushing markers here, trying to go in a little bit faster there. It's all under control. I didn't feel like panic butt, like, oh!
I almost
No.
died.
Yeah, no, it's like, nah, it's good. You know, I spoiled that one corner. It's all good. I'll come back and do it again. No big deal. But I had never made so many mistakes. I didn't show the other mistakes I've made, which were not like running off track, but it was just blowing some corners in the sense, like I was just mentioning, getting into that turn, actually, turn 11, that I know I should get back on the throttle before the apex, slightly before the apex. And usually I forget that because I'm thinking, you know, on other things. And by the time I think like, oh yeah, I should be on the throttle before that, it's like I've already blew my exit drive. Many times that weekend, I was getting on the throttle too early when I didn't have a proper line out of it. So it would, you know, drive me wide. And I was going to go like hit the candy stripes there and then back into the main straight. So I was doing way too many of those. Like on turn 11 and on 19, I did at least like twice on each one of those corners. And then when it was like the one session before last on Sunday, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do the last session. I just don't feel like doing the last session. I'm making too many mistakes that I normally don't.
But maybe you try to push your limits actually, and try to figure out if you could actually swim in those corners.
It could
He
be.
was more in his head because he was going to go to Germany.
That was the other thing, yes. That was the other thing.
You're overthinking, you're obsessing
Yes.
over
Yes.
not going down.
Yeah, I was mentioning to Brian right before I got here because that was the weekend before I was about to fly out to Germany. So I had that in my head too. It's like, I cannot go down this weekend and get messed up. I cannot spoil my trip that I've been planning for 6 months. That would suck. So I had all of those things in my head. Plus the other things like, oh yeah, the feedback that I've been getting from instructors is get on the gas earlier and harder. So as I was doing that, I was thinking about that, so I always get earlier than I should when I didn't have the proper line, like I didn't have the bike pointing up the proper line to actually go hard on the throttle, so I was going wide on certain corners. And as I kept doing that, I was like, nah, it's about time to pack and go home, all right?
And when your money's not there, it's not safe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, I've never done those, you know, that number of mistakes, so I'm not going to start that right now. Yeah, it's just too much. But that's that. Let me give Santiago enough time to set up and tell us about his experiences.
Yeah.
I want to hear everything about it.
Alright, so I went to Barber over the weekend. It was 3 days of riding.
Oh, Mississippi or where?
Alabama.
Alabama.
12 hours driving, going over and coming back with stops and everything.
Hector
So
was telling me about that.
you have to plan very well in advance. So what I was saying, so yeah, Barber, it's a long trip, so you have to plan kind of all the way over and back. Very well, because I was very tired at the end of the driving, going over and then coming back. That it's tiring. At least for me, I was exhausted at the end of it. So to consider, but it's really, really interesting, really good track. In my view, in general, same quality as with as COTA, but it's more challenging in my view. I think they had to keep that one.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. So in my view, it's more challenging. Elevation here is very important. So we have some elevation. We have a big mountain going up in 1 and then coming down in 10. That's elevation. That's something to consider. But here, the elevation really is a factor that you have to consider. I mean, when I go on turn 1 in COTA, I don't think much of elevation. I'm just going up and I'm just taking advantage of gravity to slow me down. You know, that's all the only thing I think about. Here, especially when you're going down, you feel the G-forces pushing you down, and then you feel the bike, the suspension of the bike pushing, compressing as you go down. So it's a really, to me, something an awesome sensation, but you have to factor it in. It's a process of understanding the track. So I have a couple of tips how I ride this track, what works for me, what didn't work, and then we'll go on the crashes and the whole thing. So I crashed. This is the crash. This is my first crash. There were two crashes. One, my fault. The other one was just a guy trying to pull an inside past me, and he didn't go to it. It's fast enough, and well, we touched, right? So okay. So let me just walk through a few tips on how I ride, how I wrote this plan, how I ride. That's the R6 guy I'm going to chase. I'm thinking, hey, this guy is good. He's better than me. Let me see if I can learn something from him. So I decided to follow the guy, and he's definitely much better than me. But I've been able to keep up. So yeah, let's keep going. And he has the same bike as me. I'll learn about that later when he blows his corner. So this section is very interesting. You're coming down. Right over there, let me see if can I point the mouse there? Yeah, right over there. There. We start the carousel going down, and as you go down, you lean over to the right very hard. By the way, I mean if you check the compound on this asphalt is super grippy. We walked the track at the end of the first day, and you touch the compound is incredibly grippy. I mean it's really good. I mean, that gives you a lot of confidence that your tires are going to grab. Once you miss, pretty much. That's a really good time. We don't get that in COTA. We don't get to walk COTA. Yeah. These guys, they allow us to walk COTA and the track, and it really gives you a lot of confidence, for sure. All right, so you're coming down. I'm chasing the guy. That's the line. We're on the line. We're all coming down very hard. And then right about there. I'm trying to hit those stripes there, because as soon as I hit those stripes there, I know I have to go up to the other side to hit the next apex. That's turn 4. And I learned at the end of the first day that I can really peg it all the way. And I was enjoying these. So I was coming down on third. I'm pegging it. I mean, opening the throttle all the way. As soon as I hit those stripes over there, all the way to the next. And this is important for the next crash. So I learned that, and the coach told me you need to increase your speed on your corners, and I was exactly doing what they told me to do. So going super hard. All the way, passing on these guys, staying on the ass of this guy, and that's Charles' corner. Hard braking, here is important what we learned with Ty Howard, to hard brake along, to push up and hard brake before you hit the apex. This is one of those ones you have to practice that a lot. You have to brake hard, super hard on this one. And then we just lean over. Hit the apex. And more. And he passes me here. Because he's faster than me. But thankfully, traffic is in my favor. So he's also dealing with that. And I will catch up with him. Trying to figure out how to pass this guy, learn this guy, how he's taking the corners, when I can safely pass him. And I'll break the guy on this one. Catching up to the R6 guy. And up. Then this is when you feel, if you hit it hard, the G-forces pull you down and you feel the suspension compressing really hard in that apex, right there. And it's super fun. Lean very hard, hit that apex. And then onto the front straight. doing the similar exercise. Calm down, leaning to the right, really avoiding the side, hitting the apex over there, open the throttle all the way to the next apex. You see all the relation, and it's super going up and down.
Let's push it here.
Yes. So you can push it really hard, and it's really fun to push it. Alright, and that's the guy there. He is there. He blows the corner. I have a picture of him blowing the corner. And then me taking advantage of him blowing the corner. And then I pass him. Of course. And I know he's on my ass. Because I know he's faster than me, so he's going to figure out how to pass me. And this is when the race mentality starts taking installed, actually. So I'm really pegging it. I know he's behind me. Let me see if I can raise the volume, because at some point we can hear his engine getting close to me. The R6 is behind me. He's on my ass.
That's right. You mean to have a rear facing camera?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just have one, so I just. But I know he was behind me. I know he was behind me. It's a nice function. Lean to the right, here, lean to the right. This is my favorite section of the track, so I know I'm fast here. I know he will be able to pass me, so I'm going all the way. Braking late. Down again, and up, doing my favorite section again of the track. See him? He's behind me. He's right there. He's right there. He's hard, all the way. Yeah, that's fourth. And I hit the rear limiter there, and then he gets me on the brakes. Right there.
Same place you went off.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. So I said, well, let's go. Let them stay on your ass. So I still this race mentality, and here's where the accident happens. I missed the gear. You hit all the gravel, you try to fight it, and then
You went down easy though.
it's super easy, super easy, super easy. I guess I have a costume to do certain things when I'm crashing, but apparently I'm finding that out with the crashes I have. Whenever I run off the track, I tend to stay on the bike. I don't bail on the bike. I tend to stay on the
As long
bike.
as you can.
It's like what you hear in hitting the epics with Brad Pitt. Stay on the bike, and
Yes.
you hear it, and they show Mark Marcus trying to stay on the bike, and they show all these other guys. I mean, stay on the bike is the safest place. I did exactly that. Let me see if I need any notes. Elevation is a factor. The guy blowing the corner.
I think you just braked too fast in that last corner.
I
If you would have came in easier and smoother and then hit it hard, I think you would have had it.
So two things happens to me. I missed my gear, so I couldn't avail myself of the engine braking for me as well. And then when I hit the brakes too hard, I started fishtail.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I have
Locked
to
it up a
release the
little,
brakes a little
yeah.
bit, and then,
Get
but
back
by then it
on.
was too late.
Yeah.
By then it was like 1 second. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the gear, and when I figured out, it was too late. I was already in the gravel. So tips that I'm sure you already know: don't use the front brake. I think I did a little bit because the front was going. Had I used only the rear brake, I could have just gone through it and just gone back to the track.
Yeah, slow down a little more than
Yeah.
on the gas.
Let the bike roll. Gentle movements is the key on this. Gentle movements is the key. I could have been more gentle with the handle of the bike and could have made it up with a fork. No. Next, safety here is amazing.
Yeah.
Gravel here saved me completely. I mean, I just slide a little bit. The bike is just barely scratched. I was just fine. So safety again.
Just pick it up and keep going.
Racing on a track is way safer than the street. Way
Yeah.
safer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is another, again, other confirmation that this is the case here, for sure. What else? So, if you're okay, check yourself. If you're okay, signal the corner worker, which I was doing by now in the day. It was the vents, the radiator was going. I turned it off. I checked myself. I signaled the guy, and he said, "Get off the track." And then I just want to get off the track. Go walking, and then talk to the corner worker to figure out how to pick up the bike and get out. Now the only thing about gravel is that the bike was basically interred in gravel, so we had to cause a red flag to get the truck to get out and let us help us pick up the bike.
Oh, wow.
Because I mean it's deep.
Buried.
It's deep, so it was buried. So we had to.
Wow.
I mean, I caused a red flag here. That I should have just gone away. I've gone on the track again. Had it been more gentle, more cautious about what I was doing. But again, it's just a crisis situation. You have less than a second to think about. But hopefully somebody can learn from this and maybe save a crash in the future.
Yeah.
You know, so something to consider. Let me see what else I missed. So lessons learned: be gentle. Race mentality. It's fun. It's fun chasing a guy. It's fun learning from what they're doing. Just keep in mind, ride your own ride. It's going back to basics.
Yeah.
If you can keep up, have fun. This is a hobby. We're supposed to have fun here, but try to think ahead, right? Not just go at it and without thinking about it. And this might happen in a bad way, for sure. So keep in mind all these things. You know, let's see. Do everything you can do. This is important to keep your attention focused on what you have to do, meaning the brakes, the corners, the line, those things. For me, for example, is exercising a lot, so that my body is responding and is keeping up the stamina, and I don't have to worry about it. If you are aching, or if you're short of breath, or your legs are hurting, you're taking your attention from the riding to your physical issues. So try to work out, try to eliminate as much distraction as you can before you get to a track. I was talking to friends of mine about riding in the track, and this is the only sport I have to prepare so much in advance. I've done many sports. I water ski, I snow ski, I golf, I jog, I do many things. This is the one that I really have to work a lot before I get to a track. So I mean, if we like it, we do it. But this is kind of a difference that I've seen from other sports I've done in the past. You know. To use the gentle movements. See that they're okay. Personal lesson: I need to work on my downshifting. I am constantly missing my breath, my gears going down the gearbox. I missed a gear on this weekend going into carousel on MSRH. I was probably doing 110 into carousel. The panic button was triggered, was pushed. I was able to engage for whatever reason and go to the corner. But again, I missed a gear. I missed a gear in COTA, 211 event. One thing important to consider here is that if you missed a gear and you said it in the presentation a minute ago, just go through the corner. Think of the bike as a bicycle, and just go through it. Even if you go in neutral, just go through it and figure it out later. But just finish your corner. Finish it. Again, it's 1 millisecond to think about it. But if somebody can remember this, just go to the corner and finish it. And then figure out what's wrong, if you missed the gear or whatever. But go to the corner. I could have done that here and be just fine.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't do it. So, going back to basics. Even if your issue is that you're losing you're losing traction, even if that's the issue, it's better to slide down than to just tumble around.
Mm-hmm.
It's less damage, you know. It's just the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is the I think I hit all the points. This is the the crash that I had, my fault. And now let's take a look at the guy in the Aprilia. Same track. We already know what I like, favorite section, so we're going there. As the hanging lady over there when I crashed earlier. Oh, one thing important here. The quick flip technique on this corner really helps. See kid code. I mean, you can really enter hard and then quick flick hard, and it just goes. It just goes. It's really good corner to practice that technique. And here, so the coach passes me here, which is a humility lesson. I'm not as fast as I think I am. So let me see if I can learn from this guy. And actually, on this corner, I am keeping up with him. So well, let me still, yeah, let me follow him. So I'm gonna peg it, I'm pegging it. Oh, what the hell happened? Oh, this guy! What the hell? What's going on?
Dude.
Yeah.
Stole your inside and pushed you off.
Totally stole my inside. Right?
Man.
I quickly recovered, I figured out I'm okay, I let the bike roll. I figured it out. Okay, well, I'm okay. No red flags, no black flags flagging at me, so nothing is broken off my bike. I'm just gonna continue and chase this guy. This is a friend of mine. In the R6, so it's hard to chase the guy at the end, but the video isn't really. Yeah, there we go. So I didn't hear the guy. The guy tried to pull an initial pass on me. He wasn't fast enough, although he was in an Aprilia, way faster than a bike. But I was pegging it. I was pegging it in that corner in particular. So
he was going too fast to make the turn, so he couldn't lean over and get out of your way, and he just like pushed you right off.
And that's he trying to check his bike and see what's going on. He had to stop. I'm guessing his shifter was messed up when I'm guessing because he had to stop and check it out. Whereas I just continued on.
Yeah.
Because I was in the lucky side of the bike. Just my exhaust was dinged. That's fine. Again, be gentle with the movements. If you can let the bike roll, which I did. I mean, we can go back to the video. Right after the bike. No. Oh yeah, but yeah, you see, I'm letting the bike roll, and I figured, okay, I'm in control, I can come back in. No black flag at me. And I finished the session. So again, be gentle, let the bike roll if you can. Don't be aggressive with the brakes, with the movements. Always be gentle. It's kind of the main message here. If you're going to do a pass, inside or outside, no matter what, it's on you to make it safe.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And well, this guy didn't make a good calculation, whatever he was thinking, I don't know. I never talked to the guy, he never came back to apologize to me, so I don't know. Obviously, he didn't plan properly and will be touched. If you have the situation, you have to report it to the track people. I did. And I don't know if he just couldn't do it because the cheater was picked or because they pulled the sticker on him. But I didn't see him in the last session. This was Monday, the session before last. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun. This is a great track to learn your technique, to really take advantage of those positive camber corners. It's great. And I hope you guys can learn from me. So anybody in the
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So I think that's it.
Very cool.
For me.
How did it work? It's with the riding organization there. Do they have levels? How do they
have,
place you?
and this is me just finishing the
Yeah.
they have levels, novice, intermediate, and advanced.
Okay.
I was in intermediate level. It's pretty much an open track day with coaches going around making sure everybody's behaving.
Okay.
And you
Control
can
riders then.
Yeah, you can. There's no like a school like we have in RideSmart.
Okay.
It's more open, but the coaches are available for you to ask questions if you want them to teach you something,
Okay.
to show you the line. My first two sessions on Saturday, I stayed behind a guy. I said, well, I'm going to stay behind you, I need to learn the line, and I was just behind the guy all the time.
Okay.
There is the round robin here is shorter. It's just 1 or 2 laps per session, which helps with using the track better.
Oh, per session.
Yeah, well,
Or
no.
nearly.
The first sessions you have maybe 1 or 2 laps behind the coach, and then he starts saying, you can go on, you can go on.
Okay.
Right? Really good people. They really know they are very. I feel they are stickler when they do the tech inspection more than our guys in RideSmart.
Okay.
That's my feeling, but this is just from my own opinion.
Okay.
Kenny almost didn't pass the first time, so he had to go back to paddock and fix a few things before passing the inspection. Yeah.
What kind of thing do you know?
He had to safety wire a few things.
Oh, so they asked to safety wire
Yeah.
things. Okay, and you
So
had
just-
yours
yeah.
safety wired?
No, I didn't. I passed.
Huh.
So they asked him to safety wire the oil cap. Mine was the OEM, and it's no safety wire, and they didn't have to do it. But Kelly's
Maybe
was
it was first
aftermarket,
time.
and they asked him to safety wire.
Okay.
So maybe it's because aftermarket. I
Maybe.
don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Fun, good track.
Nice.
If you can make it there, it's worth it. Same quality as COTA. Compound is amazing, super pretty, and the museum is just amazing. It's like motorcycles galore.
And is there a website to go to find out about their track days? Or?
Yes, Sport Bike Track Night.
Sport bike track.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean we can put the links in the description later. But yeah, that's what it is. And they have a calendar.
Okay.
They have a Barber Day coming up in October, which I won't be able to go, but I'm going to go in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
November. May 20.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
November will be cool.
So that's what I have.
Man.
Hope somebody can learn from my mistakes. I'm learning from my
Yeah.
mistakes as well.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Man. Thanks for sharing.
My pleasure, guys.
Awesome.
All right.